welcome to Greater Depths Podcast. I didn't really think that I would be saying this right now, but here we are. For those of you that have listened in the past, I want to say thank you for your support towards this show. And for those of you that are, you might be a first-time listener, or this is your first episode that you're hearing, welcome. And I want to say I noticed that since launching Greater Depths Podcast, I've never really gotten on here and introduced myself or said anything really about myself. And so I wanted to get on here and just to put it out there, yes, I am relaunching Greater Depths Podcast. After feeling the Lord impress it upon me for some time and talking to leadership, I again want to pursue this burden that God has placed in me through this platform. And so I wanted to get on here, and for those of you that don't know who I am, wanted to introduce myself. And then I also wanted to kind of talk about the reasoning why I felt to start this podcast and kind of the burden behind it and what we're trying to achieve in each and every episode. And so for those of you that don't know me, my name is Matthew Corbin, living here in California. I started this podcast back when I was in Bible college, back in 2019. I attended Christian Life College, and God placed the burden in me to start this podcast. And the reason why I felt to do this was it stemmed from something that I had felt at one time. And now, or at that time, being in a position where I'm pursuing ministry, I many times looked back at the point when God had called me to do something for his kingdom. And I received the call, and I didn't, right at first, but after a while, after some seasons in my life, answering the call and accepting the call, it really felt like the fulfillment or being able to step into what God had called me to do seemed so far out of reach. It almost seemed like it was unattainable. And much like I think many young people deal with today in regards to the things of God, in regards to ministry and different things concerning one's walk with God, I had a lot more questions than I did answers. And I'm thankful for those that have the avenue to have a personal mentor who can teach them and guide them and train them up in the ways of ministry. But I come from a family that doesn't really have a ministry background, and I'm very thankful for the leaders that are in my life. But I just never felt like I had somebody that I could come to in regards to certain questions and certain topics that I had about the things of God. And so I really felt that for those of you that are out there that seem to have those same questions or are searching, and sometimes we're too embarrassed to ask the questions. Sometimes we don't have an avenue where we can voice these questions or these thoughts that we have. And so I wanted to, with the opportunity that God has given me, sit down with ministers from all walks of life, whether they be young or old. And I don't want to call any of them old, but let's say a little more seasoned in the area of preachers and pastors, evangelists, missionaries, musicians, just different areas of ministry. I wanted to be able to sit down with them and to discuss topics where you can have your questions be discussed and be answered, and you can help find some clarity in the things of God, so that you can walk in a higher confidence in what God has called you to do. And so this first, when I started it, like I said, I was in Bible college, and it was 2019, and I was real excited to get things going, and I was recording, and things were going great. But much of I don't think there's anybody out there that doesn't know at this point, but the world was seemingly shut down because of the COVID-19 pandemic. And so, much like the rest of the world, I was unable to really record episodes for this podcast like I had wanted to. And at the beginning, I was utilizing the different ministers and people that were coming through Christian Life College to be able to sit down and have conversations with them. And it almost seems like, there's not really anybody to come now. And so there's not a lot of things I could do to record. And, I could get on here and ramble and talk, but I'd much rather be hearing insight from different ministers than just getting on here and having a platform to share knowledge or to preach from. And so the podcast at that point stopped, and the burden never really left me. But I know, and I had thoughts that I could maybe do Zoom phone calls, or I could do Skype phone calls, or FaceTime, or whatever, and record through there. But one of the things that was kind of just like a little niche that I had was that I really wanted to be speaking with these people in person. And the main reason is, just with me, when I listen to podcasts, it's much easier for me to focus in and tune out everything else when the person's voice is crisp and clear and it doesn't sound like the quality of a phone call. So that's just a little, nitpick area that I have for me. And so I wanted to be able to deliver a high quality content where I can actually sit down with them and can get these people a nice microphone where they can talk, and there can be, a liminal distractions. And so after much time, now it's 2023 coming into 2024, and I have some episodes that we'll be starting to post. The first one will be coming out November 5th, and this will be with Pastor Jonathan Sanders, who was my very first guest on the show. And I'm so excited what we'll be discussing, and you don't want to miss out on that episode. November 5th, Sunday, that will be releasing. And so before, I close this out and you guys can stop listening to me ramble, I wanted to give a little bit of life updates with me. Like I said, I started this podcast when I was in Bible college, attending Christian Life College. I am originally from the south suburbs of Chicago. I will put it on record right now. I was not raised in the city. So anybody that listens that me from Chicago, I'm not claiming that I am a city kid. I was raised in the suburbs. It's just a thing that people like to pick on you about out there. And so I was raised in the south suburbs of Chicago. God called me, and I came to Christian Life College to grow in God. And it was really a place that taught me how to have a relationship with God. And I'm so thankful for that. And so when you were listening to my older episodes, I was currently in Bible college, but now I have graduated. I've been out for about 2 years, graduated with my bachelor's, and I met my beautiful wife at Bible college, Jesselyn, who I fell in love with. And so we have been serving and working in the kingdom of God, and we have moved down to the valley where I am under Pastor Jonathan Sanders, who was the first guest, who's the pastor of this next episode that you'll be listening to. And it has been a huge blessing for us to be there. We've been evangelizing out of that church, And my wife and I are getting ready in January of 2024 to go be aimers and serve a 1-year term in the nation of Bangladesh and assist in the work of the Lord over there. And so I know what some of you might be thinking, well, you're starting this now, but you're about to leave overseas. How do you expect to be able to post podcast episodes while you're overseas? Well, don't worry. It might not be perfect. I'm not going to say it will be, but I'm going to try my best to keep things rolling. But also with posting episodes with different ministers and with different people about topics. I also am going to periodically come on here and just give some updates on what is going on in the mission field. I think it would be great to help somebody out there that might be feeling that pull to missions to get an inside scoop of a young man, a young couple that is out in the other side of the world overseas, just trying to labor in the vineyard of the Lord. And so I'll be coming on here every now and then and just talking about our experiences in Bangladesh. And so before I close this out, I just want to say one last thing. I want for the topics of this podcast to not just be things that I personally am feeling, and I try my best to seek the Lord for what topic to discuss with certain individuals. But for those of you that listen on Spotify, I'm going to have attached to every episode a question where you can type a topic that you would like covered, and you can go ahead and do that and be able to send that in so that I can create a list of topics that you all want me to go over, and we can get some things answered and go over some topics that you might have some questions about. And so that'll be linked in specifically with Spotify. If you do not have Spotify, I am going to be posting the Greater Depths podcast email in the description. And so if you don't have Spotify, don't worry. You can simply just email whatever topics you would like to be covered over to the Greater Depths podcast email, and I will add it to the list, and we will try to just learn and grow together. And so this podcast has been a tremendous blessing in my life, and I've really gleaned and been able to grow from being able to sit down with these ministers. And I pray that it's also been an avenue where you can be able to grow, get answers, and just develop in the ministry that God has given you, in your relationship with God, so that we can all be raised up as a generation to do mighty things for God. And so I thank you for listening to this episode, and I pray that you all have a blessed, if you're listening to it later on, I just pray that you all be blessed. I'd say a blessed day, but some of you might be listening to this months or even a year down the road. So I just pray that you're blessed, and that you're also a blessing to somebody. Thank you for listening.